I sat in my kitchen last Tuesday morning, and the only sound in the whole house was the clock on the wall. Tick, tick, tick. Just that clock and me. And I thought to myself, Dolores, you are 92 years old, and there ain't a single soul on this earth expecting you to be anywhere today. Not one person waiting for you to walk through a door. Now that thought can either destroy you or teach you something. And honey, I chose to let it teach me. My name is Dolores Mae Hutchins, 92 years old, born and raised just outside Lynchburg, Virginia. I taught third grade for 31 years at the same little schoolhouse. I buried my husband, Earl, 11 years ago come September. My daughter lives out in Oregon. Good woman, busy life, calls when she can. My son David passed in 2014, and most of the friends I came up with, well, they ain't here no more. So when I tell you I know loneliness, I don't mean I read about it in some article. I mean I have sat with it at my kitchen table. I have laid next to it at 2 in the morning staring at the ceiling. I have felt it pressed down on my chest like a stone that won't move no matter how hard you push. But I'm still here. My mind, Lord willing, is still working, and I want to tell you the 4 lessons that kept loneliness from swallowing me whole, because it will swallow you if you let it. It don't care how old you are, how strong you were, or how many people once loved you. Loneliness is patient. It waits. Stay with me now. This might be the most honest thing I ever say on this camera. Lesson number 1. I had to stop confusing being alone with being abandoned. After Earl died, I spent about 2 years convinced the whole world had forgotten me. The phone stopped ringing like it used to. People quit coming by once the casseroles ran out. You know exactly what I mean by that. Everybody shows up strong at the funeral, brings food, holds your hand, says, "Call me anytime." 3 weeks later, life moves on for them, and you're standing in your living room holding a dish that still smells like somebody else's kitchen, and the silence crashes over you like a wave. I started telling myself ugly stories, that nobody cared anymore, that I was a burden, that my daughter didn't call because she didn't really want to hear my voice. Child, those stories nearly killed me faster than any disease ever could. Because here is what loneliness actually does to your body, and this ain't just me talking, the doctors know it too. When you feel truly isolated, your body floods with cortisol, the stress hormone, all day long. Your blood pressure creeps up, your immune system weakens. A major study out of the University of Chicago found that chronic loneliness is as damaging to your health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. 15! I ain't never smoked a single cigarette in my life, but loneliness was doing the same damage from the inside out. So the first lesson was this: being alone is a circumstance. Feeling abandoned is a story I was telling myself, and I had the power to change that story. Every morning I started saying out loud, "You are alone right now, Dolores, but you are not forgotten, and you are not finished." When nobody else is around to say it, you learn to say it yourself. Lesson number 2. I gave my days a spine. That's what I call it, a spine. Something to hold the day upright so it don't just collapse into nothing. When you're old and retired and living by yourself, the days can turn into pudding, just soft, shapeless, sliding into each other until you can't tell a Tuesday from a Saturday. You wake up and there's no reason to get dressed, no reason to eat at any particular time, nowhere to go. And in that shapelessness, that's exactly where depression sneaks in, quiet as fog. I read once that the brain needs what they call temporal landmarks, little markers that tell your mind where you are inside a day. Without them, your sense of time dissolves, and when time dissolves, purpose dissolves right along with it. So I built myself a routine. Nothing rigid, nothing fancy. Coffee at 6:30, walk to the mailbox at 8, even when there ain't a thing in it. Lunch at noon sharp, my crossword or my radio program in the afternoon, supper at 5, bed by 9.
I follow it the way I follow the seasons, not because somebody forces me, but because it gives my days a shape. It's like a trellis for a vine. The vine still grows however it pleases, but without something to climb on, it lays flat on the ground and rots. Earl always said I was the most stubborn woman he'd ever known. I took that stubbornness and turned it into structure, and it saved my life. Lesson number 3. I learned to let people in, even when it cost me my pride. This one was the hardest. I grew up in a time when you did not burden people with your problems. You handled your business. You kept your sadness behind your front door. And admitting you were lonely, Lord have mercy, that felt like waving a white flag. But something changed. About 6 years back, my neighbor Keisha, young woman, maybe 35, knocked on my door one Saturday and asked if I'd like to walk with her in the mornings, said she needed the company. Now, I knew good and well she didn't need my company. She had a husband, 2 little boys, a whole life humming around her. She did it for me. And my first instinct, my proud, stubborn instinct, was to say no thank you, to protect my dignity. But something in me whispered yes. Maybe the Holy Spirit, maybe common sense finally winning a fight with my pride. I said yes, and that word changed everything. We walked 3 mornings a week. She'd talk about her boys, I'd share stories from my teaching days, and sometimes we didn't say a word, just walked side by side, matching steps, breathing the same morning air. I learned something I wish I'd known decades earlier. Connection ain't always about deep conversation. Sometimes it's just being near another heartbeat. The scientists call it social baseline theory. Your nervous system calms down when another person is nearby. Your brain uses less energy managing fear because it senses you ain't facing the world alone. We were built for this, honey. We were never designed to sit in empty rooms pretending we don't need anybody. If somebody reaches a hand toward you, take it. Tell your pride to hush and sit down. Lesson number 4. I stopped waiting to be needed and started choosing to give. After I retired from teaching, after Earl passed, after David died, I felt like life peeled my purpose away one layer at a time. I wasn't a teacher, I wasn't a wife, nobody needed me. And when you lose that feeling, loneliness don't just visit, it moves in and unpacks its bags. So I started something small. I began writing cards, birthday cards, get well notes, little messages that said, I was thinking about you today. I sent them to people from church, old students, neighbors, folks I hadn't spoken to in years. Sometimes just 3 lines. I thought of you. I hope life is treating you gentle. You matter to somebody, and that somebody is me. I've written over 500 cards by now. And you know what happened? People wrote back, called, stopped by with pie, and stayed an hour. Not because I asked, but because I reminded them I was still here, still thinking, still capable of love. That taught me the deepest truth about loneliness. It tells you to withdraw, to hide, to shrink, but the cure runs in the exact opposite direction. You reach out, even when your hands shake, you reach. Now listen,
I want you to carry this with you. Loneliness when you're old ain't a weakness. It ain't a flaw. It's what happens when life takes away the people and the roles that gave your days meaning, and it can damage your body, your heart, your mind, your bones, if you let it sit too long without answering it. But you are not helpless. You change the story you tell yourself. You give your day a spine. You let people in, and you keep reaching, even when it feels like reaching into the dark. I'm 92 years old. I live by myself, but I'm not lonely the way I used to be, because I decided as long as I got breath and a working hand, I'm going to use both to touch somebody's life. A card in the mail, a wave from the porch, a yes when pride wants me to say no. Don't let the quiet win, sugar. It ain't earned that right. This is Dolores, and I'll be right here.